This weekend, Midsummer's Night, brings what is probably the greatest test of drivers and racing machinery in the world, the 59th running of the Le Mans 24 Hours. It's a unique mixture of speed and endurance, an event which is unique in offering the sight of cars racing at over 200 miles an hour, both day and night. And not surprisingly, it's a magnet for racing enthusiasts from all around the world. They savour a mixture of French hospitality and, it has to be said, especially British motor racing heritage. It goes back to the days of the Bentley boys of the 1920s, through Lagonda in the 30s, Jaguar in the 50s, along with names such as Aston Martin. Here we see the schedule for the 59th running of the race, with scrutineering starting on Tuesday, and then 2 practice sessions a day on Wednesday and Thursday, with of course nighttime practice sessions to allow the drivers to acclimatise. Then of course 1600 hours on Saturday 22nd of June, the start of the 24 hours. New shapes and new cars for the 1991 series. The Le Mans 24 Hours, for the first time in many years, is a round of the World Sports Car Championship. There are actually 2 classes of cars racing at Le Mans, although the results are only on an overall basis. Category 1 is the new cars for 1992 and beyond, 3.5 litres, non-turbocharged and unlimited fuel allocation. Category 2, the older cars with turbocharged engines, now a minimum weight of 1,000 kilos and a maximum of 2.5 thousand litres of fuel. So let's now take a look at some of the teams which will be lining up on Saturday for the 24 hours. Mercedes, they've got to be favourite with that big V8 turbocharged C11 Mercedes-Benz, but don't forget also, because of the championship regulations, Wendlinger and Schumacher will be starting in the 3.5 litre flat 12 Mercedes C291. Jaguar, of course, they're on a high after that victory at Silverstone and are aiming for the top, but they're using a selection of cars. The new XJR14 with the 3.5 litre V8 looks to be a pace setter in the early stages of the race, but the V12 7.4 litre car, which won at Le Mans last year, is back out again at the South Circuit. Home favourites Peugeot with the V10 car, it has to be said, will be looking for success prior to the first pit stops. They're going for sheer pace in qualifying, sheer pace in the opening stages of the race. They have no illusions about the possibility of that car not lasting for a full 24 hours. One team which are hoping to do the full 24 hours on 3.5 litres, however, are the Euro Racing Spice team, powered by a 3.5 litre V8 Ford Cosworth DFZ engine. Dutch drivers Oyster and Houseman are joined by British touring car ace Tim Harvey, who's an expert at the South Circuit. One team which always get themselves noticed at Le Mans are the Mazda Speed team. They use the revolutionary Wankel rotary engine in the back of the 787. It's an ear-shattering howl, and look at that driver lineup. Stefan Johansson, Sandro Sala, Johnny Herbert, Bertrand Gachot, all Grand Prix talents. But if there is one car which is associated with the 80 du Mans, it is the Porsche 962. It's been around now for 9 years. 1982 it took its first Group C victory. One of the front-running teams, the Courage team. Thomas Danielson, one of the front-running drivers there with them. 3.5 litre turbocharged car. The car's perhaps a little on the heavy side, but as spectacular and powerful as ever. Here we see the Brunn Porsches. In actual fact, Walter Brunn's car at Le Mans is the last Porsche 962 chassis to go down the Porsche production line at Weissach near Stuttgart. Another team to use the Porsche 962 chassis is the Salamin Obermeier car. Max Olivar is no doubt hoping that he will not have a similar problem to that he found himself in at Monza. With the end of production of the Porsche 962 chassis at the factory, some teams such as Conrad are using specially custom-made chassis made out of carbon fibre and Kevlar, which are purported to be lighter and more rigid than the official item. However, Reinhold Joest, he's decided to stay with the factory 962 chassis, but look at that driver lineup. Hans Stuck, Derek Bell, Frank Jelinski, Henri Pescarolo, all previous Le Mans winners. The Kramer Porsche team, they too are relying on a star driver lineup, particularly from the Scandinavians. Harry Toivonen, JJ Leto, joined by Briton Tiff Needell. So we've got 24 hours of action ahead of us this weekend. It is certainly the longest day in many ways. 60 cars are intended to line up at the start, 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, and you can see the Porsche domination from 1981 to 87. The Porsche 956, that was the forerunner of the current 962, which is still racing, took its first victory in 1982. But of course, we've had Jaguar in 88 and 90, and Mercedes-Benz in 89. Mercedes-Benz, of course, elected not to race in the 1990 Le Mans. So the eternal fascination of the toughest race on earth continues. Don't forget to join us for the action.